the Sixers responded, and you got to give him credit. And talking about that, let's get to Tobias Harris, because he finished with 19 in the first half, 24 overall, so only in the second half 5 points. But when they needed him, because they were taking Tyrese Maxey away, Tobias Harris was aggressive. He was looking for his. He wasn't settling for anything. He was the aggressor on the early part of the afternoon in that first and second quarter.
Yeah, he came out, I think it was a corner three real early. It might have been the first bucket of the game.
Yep.
Had, like I said, a mid-post turnaround that if it didn't go in, I probably would have complained about.
Scored his first 7 points for the team.
Yep. He was real aggressive, real good to start. And I always think that picks up then on the defensive intensity for him. I think he did a better job moving the ball. And this was a game where I thought a lot of players probably played above their heads in terms of ball movement. Kelly Oubre specifically, I thought, had a couple of nice dump-off passes there in the first half. 3
assists in the first quarter.
Okay, there you go. What do you end up with?
Overall, he ended up with 6, tied with the lead with Maxey for the team.
Wait, Kelly Oubre had 6 assists?
6 assists.
I'm pretty sure that's a season high. I don't think he's had more than 4
I
all
agree.
season.
He had 5. I know he had 5 a couple of times, but he had 6 to
Kelly
lead the
with
team.
6 assists.
Yeah.
No, I thought Kelly, and look, he didn't do much scoring after the first quarter. I think he had 10 of his 12 points in the first quarter.
4 for 5.
And then he went out for a minute there with, was it a back? Did they announce what it was?
I didn't see what it was.
It looked like certainly when he landed on his back, and he came back, and he wasn't quite as effective, certainly as a scorer.
But he had a hell of a block.
He had a hell of a block
on the break.
and he continued to move the ball pretty well. Were there some shots that I would nitpick? Yeah, he ended up with 11 or 12 points on 11 shots. Part of that comes down to shot selection. He had some threes there that I would question. But if the passing and the defense remain what they are and what they have been with Kelly, I thought he was real good, especially in the first quarter, but defensively throughout. He was good. And Harris, I mean, look, this is the Tobias Harris we thought we were getting when Joel Embiid went down. Like you said, he came out aggressive, scored the first 7, moved the ball well. If you got this more often, look, I'm not saying people would be happy with the contract because it's still a huge contract. It's still an anchor around the Sixers for the last 5 years. But I think they would blame more Elton Brand and the front office that signed him to it rather than him, because this is the version of Tobias Harris where you can at least say he's a productive player. He's helping you win games. He should be in the rotation. I can live with this version of Tobias Harris.
If you got this version and anybody argued about it, I would argue with you.
It's not his fault. Everyone would sign that contract.
He's playing well.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting 19 in first half, 24 overall, and we just talking about 19 for a game.
Yep.
If you got that consistently, I don't think many of us, of course, there would be spots within a game where you would pick out and say, if he did this during the course of the game, maybe they would have won, or if he made this particular play here, of course, that might have been the difference in the particular game. But to get the 11, to set the tone early, and then to get to the 8, he took 8 shots in the second quarter in 9 minutes and 43 seconds, with 2 rebounds and 1 assist in there. And during that time, Tyrese Maxey was on the floor for 9 minutes and 31 seconds and did not score a point. Only took 1 shot in 9 minutes and 31 seconds in the second quarter. You needed his 8 plus everything else that you got from the bench in that second quarter. But for Tobias Harris to set the tone, this is why we always repeat ourselves when we focus the show after a bad game with him. We always say it. Here we go again. We're repeating ourselves and talking about Tobias Harris. But when he does this again, we have to get back to it one more time, because we're saying, should you get this? This is why we put them in the category of the top tier teams in the NBA, where they have a chance to always win because of that level of play. The rebounding, where he grabbed this afternoon only 4 rebounds, but he had 4 assists. Also, the block shot, the steal, and certainly the pressure that he is putting on the defense to make it easier for his teammates to do what they do. They can't play off of Tobias Harris if he's playing this way. It's going to make it easier for Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey to do what they need. And when they are off the floor and he's the focal point of the offense, you do this. And that's why we always talk about our frustration just showing, and hard to ignore it because of the way that he plays like this and then disappears, and we don't see this for 2 weeks, and that's the issue with Tobias Harris. But we're here to talk about the good in him today. They certainly would not have won this game without him. When we question, why didn't you play this way? 2 points against the New York Knicks when you dropped 24 and scored 19 in the first half, and a big part of it, hit a big 3 in the fourth quarter. Also, you got to give the guy the credit that he deserves.
Yep.
Silly like the mayor.